Hello and welcome back to the Horse Racing Network, and I'm joined as always by racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Alster, and I'm joined as always by Jack from Quiff. So we've got a big weekend of racing coming up. We have got Cheltenham Trials Day, where all attentions will be turning towards the festival after that. There's a really lovely card, but if you are going racing this weekend, especially going to Cheltenham, I think you need to take your brolly because it does look as if it's going to be a little bit of a damp one. Lots of rain around in the forecast on Friday and on Saturday. Currently soft ground, so it could even potentially turn heavy, just depending how much of it does get onto the track. But a great card, guys. Are we looking forward to Saturday's racing?
Absolutely. I think it's a shame we haven't got more runners in the big feature races, but I think what we lack in quantity will certainly have in quality.
Absolutely. We kick things off actually at 1:15 with a really exciting field. JP McManus has got a very well fancied horse in this one. It is run over 2 mile 4. It is a grade 3 chase, and top of the market we have Jaguar. You've then got last time out winner at Newbury, Booster Bob. You've got Java Allen in there, triple trade for the Tizard team, Prairie Wolf, Moon d'Orange, Boomborn, Risk in the Ground, Uncle Bert, Donica, Hurricane Bay, and that is the field. I absolutely love Jaguar. I think he's a wonderful horse. He really likes it at Cheltenham. He didn't quite get the job done last time, but I'll come here to you first, Paul. Do you think that Jaguar can do the business this time around, or are you going elsewhere with your selection?
Well, I'll be going elsewhere simply because Jaguar's quite a shortish price, sort of top price 2-1 at the moment. But he's certainly the horse that's improving. His 2 wins at Cheltenham on this card last year, and then at the festival, and he probably just needed the run. He'd been off for about 9 months when he was beaten less than 2 lengths at Cheltenham in the December Gold Cup. So he's only gone up £1 for that. You would have thought he would have improved more than £1 for the run. So if he handles what I was interested to hear your weather report, because we hang on your every word, as far as the weather is concerned. And I was interested to hear that there's going to be more rain than I had been aware of. So if Jaguar is okay in really deep ground, then under 11 stone 11, then he is going to be a tough one to beat. But the one I'm going to take advantage of a very big weight concession is the Irish raider Moon d'Orange. Now, Moon d'Orange has won this race before, and I think that it's been coming back into form. Didn't run badly in the Coral Gold Cup over the wrong trip, and then was a mid-division finisher here last time out. It does like good to soft ground. Whether it would go quite as well on the heavy, I'm not sure. But of what's going to be just 10 stone 3 once Alex Harvey's claim is taken into consideration, I think Moon d'Orange would have to go really well. And that would be the one I would be putting up to make a race of it, at least, with Jaguar.
With Moon d'Orange, or will you be looking elsewhere for your selection?
I was almost kind of tense in there because when I fancy a horse, Paul, you get the Paul Auster speech, I'm thinking he's got to put the horse I fancy up. And it is about the weight concession, and it's the Williams horse Java Delan, who was a good second at Newbury last time out. And would love the ground. I think maybe it's a bit of a cliche in my head. A lot of the majority of the J. Williams horses love soft ground, but he was second when he was just beaten for a bit of tour at Newbury. 2 miles on good ground. I think he wants 2.5 miles, and I think he wants soft ground. In my head, he's always been pegged as a 2.5, 2 mile, but proper soft ground horse. And now that you've filled us with such wonderful news, Izzy, we'll be taking it's not the race. It's 8-1, Java Allen. And I'll give a little word for Triple Trade as well, who won at Sandown over 2.5. Stayed on really well when I thought he had no chance, but he showed a brilliant attitude. Looking to his record, he's got a great record over his fences. I think he's won 6 times in the last couple of years in competitive handicap chases. But Java Allen, for me, over the 2.5 miles, I think the trip will be the making of him.
Okay, so we've got Java Allen for Jack and Moon d'Orange for Paul. I mean, I'm probably going to be a bit boring and stick with Jaguar just because I've been following him kind of through the ranks. But I do really like a couple in here. I did back Booster Bob last time out at Newbury, and the fact that that was over a little further, 2 miles, 6.5 furlongs, like you say, if that ground does get a little bit boggy, then he's probably likely to stay. And also Triple Trade, Jack, I do agree with you. It was really, really impressive, especially last time he ran at Cheltenham, absolutely flew the fences. And the horse that he was second to, no, the horse that he beat in the Antonio ran a really good race the other day as well. So he's kind of franked that form a little bit.
I would say one thing as well. You've always got to be a little bit wary of the green and gold. Look, not today, lads. So he's interesting, but looking through his entries, he's entered in the Ryanair. So if you fancy him to win on Saturday of 149, he's surely going to go up to mark of like 156, 155, 156. I think he's about 33 to 1 for the Ryanair. If you fancy him for Saturday, you'd be remiss to not throw a few quid at him for the festival.
I do. I think he's going to have a fantastic chance at the festival. I think he's a horse that absolutely loves Cheltenham, and just that kind of horses for courses. Yeah, potentially have Harry Cobden on board as well at the festival, but obviously it remains to be seen if he will definitely be riding at the weekend after his nasty fall at Ascot at the weekend. So that does mean that it's time to move on to the 225. It is that Cotswold Chase, and top of the market over 3 miles is Grey Dawning. What an impressive horse he has been. You've then got L'Homme Presse following him. You've got an entry here for Spillane's Tower for the green and gold again, and then very, very interesting runner and kept their entry a one-time staying hurdler, Flooring Porter, potentially making a comeback on Saturday at Cheltenham. How many days off the track is that? 486 days off the track for Flooring Porter. So, Jack, I'll come to you first. Do you fancy Flooring Porter to make a flying comeback, or do you think that Grey Dawning's probably got the class to win this?
I wouldn't be back in Flooring Pod until I've seen how he jumped a fence. But yeah, it's a fascinating race. I can't have Grey Dawning 4-7. I think that's a really, really skinny price. I know he's won at Cheltenham before. I know he won a Grade 1 Novice Chase. However, it has been very, very almost noted how Dan Skelton has kept him to flat tracks, not undulated. He's gone, ways he's run at Aintree. He's run at Newbury. He's run at Haydock. I don't think Cheltenham this kind of track, and this, especially in soft ground, it's going to be a real slog. So for me, I think it's a really, really skinny price. And Spillane's Tower's on his first run at Cheltenham to potentially book a Gold Cup ticket. But I thought the way L'Homme Presse jumped and stayed on near the finish. I know he was beaten last time out at Cheltenham in a handicap where I think he was carrying 12 stone that day. Last month, he was giving lumps and lumps of weight away. He won the race last year. Venetia Williams horses flying at the minute, soft ground course form. L'Homme Presse for me. I think this will be his good version of the Gold Cup, and L'Homme Presse 9-2. I'll be on him like a tramp on chips on Saturday.
I'm going to be like a proper devil's advocate and wind you up now. Do you think Venetia's horses are flying at the minute? Because up until she hadn't had a winner for 42 days.
Oh God, maybe I was.
You're going to hope she's maybe flying over the old heavy ground, but certainly she it's been quite noticeable that the stable's been quite quiet of late. I agree with you. I actually backed on Presse last year, but I would be a little bit worried about her trainer form, just the way she's been.
I thought she was on a 20% strike rate. Oh God, scratch that. Well, she's gonna turn the corner with a plum.
Maybe you were looking at the Skelton strike rate, 23% currently for Grey Dawning.
I was looking at January 2020, 2025. I'm an idiot.
It must have been very rainy in January 2025.
Probably, yeah. But L'Homme Presse. Do you know what? I like horses.
Stick to your guns, Jack. Stick to your guns. It's fine.
Yeah. I like horses running handicaps off big weights. I think it makes them really battle hardened. So one for the old boys. Up the L'Homme Presse.
Yeah, well, even if she hasn't had any winners, maybe this will be the one that gets her started. Paul, do you agree? L'Homme Presse, they got a chance, or are you going elsewhere?
He's got a chance, 4-runner race, and as Jack pointed out, he won it last year. So, horses for courses, all that, as Big Mac used to say. I I've had a look through this race. First of all, I'll hold my hand up and tell you that I've been a big Spillans Tower fan for quite some time. He's only 8 years old, but he just hasn't quite delivered. He ran okay over hurdles last time. It was a bit of a warm-up on New Year's Eve at Punchestown. That was just to get him ready for this, I think. But he's a horse that one day he's going to click into gear. Flooring Porter, wonderful staying hurdler, as we know, fantastic Cheltenham Festival winner, long absence to overcome and over fences. I wouldn't be, well, he's won over fences, you know, he showed himself capable. He won the Kerry National last time we saw him. But I've got to say that I don't bet odds on, so I wouldn't be having a bet in this race because I do think Grey Dawning will win, and I think he'll win it well. And, you know, we pointed out, or rather you pointed out, Izzy, that the Skeldons have got a good strike rate. But if you narrow the strike rate down since last Sunday, they had 5 winners last Sunday and they had 4 winners just, was it today or yesterday? So they've actually had 9 from the last 19 of won. So nearly a 50% strike rate of late. Grey Dawning was so impressive at Haydock when he beat Royal Pagile. I know that form's been let down a bit by Royal Pagile, but the ground was too fast for him last time at Haydock. And I have to take Jack on about Grey Dawning at Cheltenham. He won the Turners here, Grade 1 in soft ground. So, you know, he's a horse who does handle the track. Maybe he's a little better on the flat track, but he's got no problem at Cheltenham. I think that he will win. I think he'll put himself right to the top of the Gold Cup market. But I won't be having a bet. I'll be sitting back and just enjoying the spectacle.
We're all taking you on here, Jack. I think, honestly, next week when we hop on, if Long Presse's won, we've got to expect it back,
Yeah.
I think, Paul.
No, I mean,
because,
I know you mean. You know what? He jumped beautifully. I know that when he won in my head, it's the JLT, obviously.
Lovely horse.
He jumped beautifully, but the form that race worked out. Ginny's Destiny, another one of these Paul Nicholls novices that have gone by the way. So Jello's the only horse that probably has come out with any real credit. Xana Hayes disappointed Iroku, but yeah, I mean, I'm just looking to like you, Paul. I'm just finding a reason to try and get a 4 to 7 shot beat, and he probably will win. But where's the fun in that?
Oh, well, I'm going to take an opposite angle to you both. I'm going to find the fun in accumulating them up. So I have Jaguar as a shorty in the race we looked at before, and I'm going to put Grey Dawning from here. And I've got a couple of others throughout the day that I'm going to stick in there as well that I'm sure we'll get to in a moment. But I can't be opposing Grey Dawning. I think he's just, like you say, just such a wonderful, beautiful horse, a beautiful jumper. He loves it at Cheltenham. I think the ground will probably suit. The Skeltons are on form. I can't really see it going wrong for him. And I think that that's probably why I'll take that angle and try and have fun in accumulating up winners across the day, even if I don't get them singly. But it does mean that then it's time to take a look at the next race. Obviously, that was the 225, which means the next one we have is the 3 o'clock. And that does involve a 2-mile 1 hurdle. And surprisingly enough, we're seeing Sergino. Obviously, he was due to go chasing and he has reverted back to hurdles. You've also then got in here the New Lion after he fell last time out. You've got the Nemean Lion also in here and a last time out winner only last weekend actually in Brentford Hope. So Jack, I'll come to you first for this one. Are you part of the Gino fan club, or do you think that the green and gold with the New Lion can get the win here? Or I don't know, do you fancy Brentford Hope in the potentially very soft ground?
I'd just like to pick up on your point there. It's fair play to Connections of Brentford Hope for putting him in a race. He loves soft ground. He should. I think he's going to get a few quid just for getting around there. So fair play to Harry Derham for actually running him in the first place. It's hard not to be impressed by Sergino. I know he's supposed to. He was probably going to be a champion chase horse this year. The way he won in the way with Love last year, you thought he was going to be an absolute superstar. Gone back over hurdles due to the disappointment of Constitution Hill. He looked fantastic at Kempton. It's another one for me. It's probably a no bet race. However, I will say, Paul will probably be able to confirm this. I think this is, as memory serves me, this is run on the old course, and it's probably the longest 2-mile race you'll get of its ilk at Cheltenham. I remember they go right round the back. It's 2 miles on a furlong, and given the fact the New Lion stays 2.5 as shown by last year, if Sergino's going to get beat, it's probably going to be a horse that's probably going to outstay it. So Dan Skelton still seems really bullish, and he's very keen to take take the Henderson horse on again as they were before Newcastle. And I don't know. The 2-1 could tempt me. Sergino probably wins, but for me, I'm fascinated to see how Harry Skelton, what his tactics are, because there doesn't look to be a lot of pace in the race. If Harry goes hard up front and tries to catch him out, that's going to be the only chance, in my opinion, how he gets beat. So I'll be watching with interest, but it's not one to. It's probably one, as my old boss Charlie McCann used to say, just probably best to keep it in your trousers.
Paul, do you agree with that sentiment, or will you be getting involved?
No, I won't be getting involved. I agree with the sentiment.
Wise man is Charlie.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point that Jack's made about this slightly longer race here. Sergino is a fabulous horse. I mean, he really is a fabulous horse. But when you look at the actual figures, he's only rated about a pound in front of the New Lion at the weights. So it's going to be really interesting. But my sort of marker for this is Golden Ace, because Sergino wiped the floor with Golden Ace at Kempton in the Christmas Hurdle. And whether or not the New Lion would have beaten Golden Ace at Newcastle, we'll never know, because he came down when they were almost upsides. So I don't think he would have beaten Golden Ace 6 lengths. I think Sergino is going to be a hard horse to beat, but I think that Harry Skelton tactically is probably going to do what Jack hinted at, which is go hard and try and draw the sting out of Sergino, going a really strong gallop, knowing he's on a horse that stays 2 miles 5. He won the Novice Hurdle last year in great style over the trip. I think it'll be fascinating. There's 2 races going on here, because with the greatest of respect to Nemean Lion and Brentford Hope, they're racing for 3rd place, and that's a £7,000 differential. So that's going to be a little race between those 2, with Conor O'Farrell, Paul O'Brien watching each other. Both horses were in action only last week. Both had quite hard races, so good for connections coming out to make the numbers up. But I think probably Sergino will just do enough to beat the New Lion. Whether or not it's going to benefit either of them in the long run, if they have a really hard race, only 6 weeks out from the festival itself, remains to be seen.
Well, I am a member of the Gino fan club. I just have been so enamoured with him, and I'm personally just really disappointed that we're not going to see him over chases, because I really do feel he had a champion chase in him. Be very interesting to see what they do next year when they've got him and Blue Lambert, whether they kind of keep him going down the hurdle route, or whether they do start to consider chasing, obviously both owned by the Donnellys. So it's also interesting that the reality is that probably Constitution Hill will take his place in the champion hurdle. So you wonder whether this is a really wasted opportunity for Sergino, because really with Nicky Henderson, you could be looking that he could be walking away with the Arkle. If Constitution Hill was good, can stay on his feet, could be walking away with the champion hurdle, and then he could have been potentially walking away with the champion chase from Sergino. So I know that he's mentioned that sentiment a couple of times when he's been spoken to, but it really does just feel like a little bit of a waste. But he is a fantastic hurdler. He's a fantastic chaser. Saying that, he could probably win the champion hurdle on the Tuesday and then go on and win the champion chase as well. But that's how highly I think of him. I think he's obviously a very short price, but for me, I can understand why, because I think so highly of him. I personally just don't think that the New Lion's going to have what it takes to beat Sergino. He's a good horse in his own right, but I don't think he's going to have to beat Sergino. I do believe him to be a little bit of a wonder horse, and just as a racing fan, I'd like him to really prove that on Saturday. I'm really, really looking forward to see him. I'm going to get round that parade ring and take a good few pictures, that's for sure. He's another one that's going to go in the muggy acca for me, because I'm so boring. So we've got Jaguar, Gino, and Grey Dawning. I have got a couple of bigger fancies elsewhere, guys, that I will chuck in later on in the podcast, but I'm not backing random horses to lose. A winner's a winner at the end of the day, so I'm going to try and get an accumulator up this weekend, that's for sure. But that does then lead us in to the 3:35, which is that Cleve hurdle. I think I said on the podcast the other week that I was talking about a previous winner of the long walk. I was talking about Paisley Park, and I mentioned the time that he whipped around at the start, and that was an absolute falsehood from me, because he didn't whip around at the start in the long walk. He whipped around in the start at the Cleve hurdle and gave the field 9 lengths, and he was an absolute stalwart of this race. We've got a very well fancied horse at the top of this market again for the green and gold. Could be a really interesting weekend for them, and I'll be looking out to see where JP McManus is on course. At the top of the market is Impostoir. I don't know about you guys, but I've tried to get him beat a few times and he's proved me wrong every single time. You've got a strong stayer in Strong Leader in the field next for Ollie Murphy. You've got Marchand too, who has been a winner on the podcast for you, Jack, so far this season already. You've then got Dodie the Great and a staying staple from Cowell Road, who usually has his runs at Cheltenham. And then you've got Cam Cenas as well in making up the runners. Paul, I'll give you first honours here. Who do you fancy? Do you think I'm so boring? Do you think Impostoir can get this done at the top of the market, or do you think that he could face some good challenges by the others?
I think he's going to face some good challenges. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not sure I would bet against him because this is a horse that's really very much on the top of his game. I was speaking to Jack just before we came live about I used to be an SP returner on the rails with all the big bookmakers. And I would say that the bookmakers at Cheltenham on Saturday and the bookies across Britain and beyond, and Jack might well have a view on this, they'll be very worried about Cheltenham on Saturday because you've got 3 standout bets in Sergino, Grey Dawning, Impostoir. You could even put Jaguar in, as you have mentioned, Izzy, and they will be worried about the roll up going on at the treble or the 4-timer. And if it comes to this race, the 3:35, and the first 3 have gone in, he's at the moment about 11 to 10 Impostoir. He's not going to go off any shorter than 4 to 6 or something like that, maybe any longer than 4 to 6. So it might be that if you think that the market principles are going to have a really great day at Cheltenham, you'd want to take an earlier price about Impostoir, because if they've already gone in and it's all rolling up onto this one, they'll be running for cover, will the books. He's just been so impressive, really, graduating from handicaps to a grade 2 and that grade 1 win. Last 2 races he's beaten Strong Leader. I don't see why Strong Leader should really turn it around. I'm sure Jack will have a word or two about his lovely Marchand too. I wouldn't rule out a big run from Gal Road, even though on the figures he hasn't got much chance. He did win this race last year, is he? He loves Cheltenham. He's locally trained. The Twiston Davises have a huge following at Cheltenham. I could see him running really well and finishing in the 3, maybe even for the forecast spot. But I'd be with Impostoir. Unusually for me, I don't normally tip favourites, but sometimes it's you've got to think, what would I do if I was a bookie? Would I be laying it or backing it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like the complete opposite to you. I just keep picking all the favourites, but genuinely because I do just think they will win. If I don't fancy a favourite, I'm quite happy to say. But yeah, I've the amount of times I haven't fancied Impostoir and I've backed against him. I've backed the likes of Strong Leader and tried to get him beat, and he's just been so impressive. I really can't see past him, and like you say, he'll be stuck in my ACCA. And there'll probably be, like you say, hopefully some bookies with spicy armpits by this point in the day. But Jack, where will your selection be going?
I want to take on Impostoir again. You either really like to get stuck into favourites and get them in a nice multi, or you want to take them on. The more they kind of end up rolling up, I'd keep laying them. Probably I've got no money. But yeah,
should talk to Gary Wiltshire about that.
Yeah. Fujiyama Crest, was it? Yeah, didn't end well.
Yes.
But yeah, to Paul's point, if one of them get beat, say if the new Lion manages to lower the colours of Sergino, I think Impostoir goes off 6 to 4. And contrast, because people have already, the bookies have already got their money for the day, so they don't mind trying to, give you a little bit back. But alternatively, the 3 go in. I think this good thing goes off 4 to 6. So fascinating from an SP perspective. I'm just not a big fan of Nico de Bonville. Like, I'm not one to be overly critical, but I think there are better jockeys out there who might be able to catch him off guard. Sean Bowen is arguably, and Sam Twiston Davis, 2 British pilots around. Strong leader. I think I said off air after we filmed back in November, I think this thing was a certainty at Wetherby. And he only just got up on the line under a good bite by Sean. He then betted that at Newbury when I think he was giving in post 12 £5, £6, got beat by half a length. I think he was left in front too soon at Ascot last time out. He was only beaten 2 lengths. I think if Sean can kind of just sit tight and then try and come up the straight a la, as you mentioned, like a Paisley Park, and get one big run to try and nab him later on, that's how we get him beat. I think the Lavellos could stay on well mash on too. He clearly loves it around there, likes the track. But I do think we can get him post 12 beat. It's just Sean's got to wait for him rather than going a bang, bang, bang. It's like wait, and then right, bang, jump the last and get really after him. But fascinating race. But yeah, like I said, if the 3 favourites have gone in already, you'll see a lot of what Fergie said, a lot of squeaky bums jump in the last at Cheltenham around this time.
I don't know where our metaphors have come from today. They're absolutely
Squeaky bum
golden.
time, you know? Clench.
But so that's sort of 2 selections for Impostoir and Strong Leader there for Jack. I did promise that I did have 1 selection elsewhere on the Cheltenham card. I really fancy a horse called Tontelatu. He's running in the 1240. It looks quite a good little race, actually. You've got the likes of Maestro Conti and One Horse Town in there as well. But I thought that Tontelatu was incredibly impressive at Chepstow over the Christmas period, actually winning a Grade 2. Really, really excited to see him again. You've got Gavin Sheehan on board, and hasn't really gone flying too far. Hasn't really gone flying too far up the weights for that. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing her, to be honest with you. I think she's got a nice chance. She's around a 14-1 shot. So I feel if we can get her winning, then I can be forgiven for my incredibly muggy acca that I've put up across the course of this podcast. But Jack, I know you do have another selection elsewhere away from Cheltenham.
Yeah, I really like a really nice mare Ruth Jefferson's called La Vida Adiva. Easy for me to say. The yard won the River Don with Kerry Hill 2 years ago. I think in the same colours for the same connections. He unfortunately passed away last year, but they've got another nice one. She made a winning start of the 3 miles at Kelso, winning enlisted company last year. She bolted by 9 lengths and then was a bit unlucky at Ayres Scottish National meeting. She won of a course and distance last month, and I just think she's too big a price given a profile. She's about a 10-1 shot. And like I said, Ruth Jefferson's probably for me one of the more underrated trainers out there, and I think she's got a very good chance. You'll get a good run for your money. She'll be jumping the last thereabouts, but she's probably going to get outclassed by a couple of the Irish horses. But like I said, I think she's probably just too big at 10-1.
And that's all we have time for previewing this Saturday's racing at Cheltenham, and 1 there for you from Doncaster with La Vida Adiva. But we'll see you again next week, and believe me, if L'Impresse wins, I think we'll be hearing from Jack before then. But have a good weekend. Good luck with all your selections. Don't forget to like and subscribe.